Good morning. Welcome to another day of science. It is Thursday, May 6th. This is your Thursday walkthrough video. Yesterday we talked about eclipses, lunar and solar, kind of finishing up our discussion of phases of the moon and what the moon looks like and how it orbits the Earth. Again, I hope you enjoyed the eclipse stuff. If you ever get a chance to see a eclipse, solar eclipse or lunar eclipse, they're pretty cool to see. We got a lunar eclipse coming up the night of May 25th or May 26th, so be on the lookout for that. You can see a nice blood red moon. All right, today it's a kind of a Thursday Friday assignment, but just take a little bit of time to get done today. But I just put on Friday there as well. Just take up both days. So you're going to watch the Thursday walkthrough video, read the page titled "Going to the Moon," and then complete the Going to the Moon quick check. Learning target, I can explain the importance of the space race with Russia. Students will view historical videos detailing the journey of the space race, and I will be successful when I have explained significant events throughout the space race. Let's pop in here. So the page "Going to the Moon." Just a short little introductory paragraph. First human to walk on the moon was Neil Armstrong, July 20th, 1969. And then Buzz Aldrin was right after him, 1 and 2. But leading up to that moment, there was a lot of work to get people to the moon, and it was really a competition between the United States and Russia, which was then known as the USSR or Soviet Union. We wanted to be the first country to put people on the moon to sort of show our technological superiority. We were involved in the Cold War with Russia at that time, and there were some successes along the way. There were some failures along the way, and that's kind of what you guys are going to look at today. All right. So a slideshow, and the slideshow, it's really just several short YouTube video clips embedded that you need to watch that sort of explain what was happening during the late 1950s and 1960s as these two countries competed to put the first person on the moon. So let's take a look at this slideshow here to see what we're going to see. Full screen it. Bingo. All right. So as I said, it's a series of several YouTube videos embedded. These first two videos sort of explain what the space race is over here. And why America wanted to go to the moon, sort of what got us fired up to send people to the moon. You'll see a famous speech, a famous quote from John F. Kennedy, the president there. You'll see early on in the space race, Russia was sort of winning. They put the first person in space. They put the first woman in space. They launched the first satellite into space. So they really had a head start in the space race, and America was playing catch up. So these are a couple short, good videos that sort of explain that early space race and why it got going. We don't need to watch them here, so you guys need to watch them there. Next slide here. We see some of the early failures of the U.S. space race. In order to compete, first thing we had to do was build a rocket that could launch something into space. We developed the Vanguard rocket. You'll see the first Vanguard rocket launch here. Did not go well. So watch that video to see things not go well. We eventually sort of started to catch up. As I said, the Russians put the first person in space and the first woman in space. We started to catch up a little bit. John Glenn, you may recognize that name. He died a little bit ago, but he's kind of looked at it as kind of an American hero. He was the first American to orbit the Earth. So it showed that we could put a person in space. He could orbit around the Earth, kind of like a satellite does, and then come back to the surface of Earth alive, which, that's the important part. So here's a little video of John Glenn orbiting around the Earth. I think he orbited 6 times. Then I'll double check and make sure this video is okay. Then we ran into a little bit of trouble. We had to figure out how to put people not just in space, but get them all the way to the moon and then back. So that's when we developed the Apollo program. And before the Apollo program even got off the ground, in Apollo 1, we were doing testing just here on ground in the U.S., and a fire broke out in the space capsule, the test capsule, and 3 astronauts died. So that was a pretty big setback there. Don't worry, you don't see any dead bodies or anything. One of the big things that we had to figure out was how do we get astronauts back to Earth, and how do we get them to land safely back on Earth. And the best system that the minds came up with was have them in this little space capsule, flying back through the atmosphere, and then when they get close to the atmosphere, or then they get close to the surface, these giant parachutes would pop out of this re-entry capsule, and they would splash down into the ocean. Basically, just do a giant cannonball into the ocean. Kind of a risky move, because if the parachutes don't open, you're smashing into the ocean at a couple 100 miles an hour, which would be instant death, or if not, you'd drown. So everything had to go right with this. Kind of interesting to see these re-entry capsules splash down. So watch that movie. And then, of course, the moment everyone's waiting for is getting Apollo 11, which is the space capsule that contained the astronauts that landed on the moon, Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin, that walked on the moon. So watch Apollo 11 land on the surface of the moon, and then you'll get to see Neil Armstrong take his first steps on the moon. Just make sure these work. I'll get these videos updated. So, yeah, watch all those to see some pretty significant, important events in the space race. And once you are done with that, that should maybe take 40, 45 minutes of watching those videos. Then once you're done with that, there's a quick check that has just 3 questions, 3 short answer questions. How did the space race with Russia start? Who was winning the space race during the 1950s and early 1960s, and why? What were some of the failures of the United States during the space race, and how did the United States end up winning the space race? And number 3, do you think we should send humans back to the moon? Why or why not? So take a couple minutes and answer these questions, and let me hear your thoughts on that third one there. All right, so that is the assignment for today and tomorrow. Let me know if you have any questions. Good luck. Have a wonderful weekend. Bobolik out.